Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 6, one of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan, we're back.
Yeah, fourth preview in 4 days. Do I have that right?
Yeah, Jonathan, we are here to preview the Big Ten. Who better to preview the Big Ten with than the man who dropped a Big Ten preview that makes the MAC preview look like, well, the MAC compared to the Big Ten.
It looks like a children's book, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't look like the MAC compared to the Big Ten because the MAC beat the Big Ten in hockey and basketball a couple of years ago. But Joe Jackson's here. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was thinking when I started the Big Ten preview, but it was a product and I did it and it's out and it is what it is.
Yeah, we are locked and loaded. Less than 3 weeks away from opening night. A lot of basketball to be played between now and opening night. A bunch of basketball has already been played. That feels good to say, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can. Jonathan was very close to. I don't know if he actually did change who he had number one, but I think for most of the offseason, basically everyone in has agreed on who the number one team in the Big Ten is.
Real quick, Sam, before we start, I just want to say that I feel like this is going to be the opposite of the Big East preview. Like, the further we went down in the Big East preview, we had less positive things to say about each team. I feel like as we get into like 13, 14, 15, like we will have positive things to say about those teams.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to 17 and 18, maybe
that's where it teeters off a little bit.
But yeah, the Big East, once we got past like Team 5, we were done with positive things.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the case today, I hope.
I think that's kind of the Big Ten for me is the best conference in college basketball this year.
Over the SEC?
Yeah. I think that the amount of good teams is crazy. I have 15 of the 18 in my top 65. The other two, 17 and 18, not even close. But
I just think you like at this, like, you know, obviously we haven't played an actual basketball game yet, but in the preseason, like I think you can reasonably make the case for 15 or 16 of these teams to make the NCAA tournament. Obviously, not all of them will end up making.
Yeah, and I think like the Big 12 is going to be really good too. The top of the Big 12 is probably a little better than the top of the Big 10. But I think the middle of the Big 10 is better than the middle of the Big 12.
Yeah. And I do think like I think the top end of the Big 10
the SEC is as good. I think there's kind of three conferences you could argue.
That's fair.
Big 10, I think, has a good chance at getting the most tournament teams though.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath once again.
All right, let's start with number one, the team that pretty much everyone has had number one throughout the offseason. That's Purdue. Oh, look, it's us three talking about Purdue basketball again. We did this for the Purdue preview. You can go back and watch that. So the Boilermakers come into this season, preseason number one in the AP poll. I think that's something you can definitely justify. I have them number two in my preseason rankings behind only Houston. I think that returning as much as they do between Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn, two of the best players in the country, with Fletcher Lawyer coming back, CJ Cox, a bunch of other guys, and then Daniel Jacobson coming back from injury and Oscar Clough coming in, Omer Mayer as well. There's plenty of justification for this being the number one team in the country. Joe, do you think this is the number one team in the country?
I think like nitpicking, I would go Houston just because of like Purdue will have the number one offense. Houston will have the number one defense. Houston's offense to me feels marginally better than what Purdue's defense will be, but I think it's, to me, they're probably a top two in I mean, it would be a fun national championship if that somehow ended up happening.
Jonathan, the Boilers this year, what kind of gets you excited, obviously, beyond Braden and TKR?
I think it's honestly the prospect of how far they could jump defensively with Daniel Jacobson coming back and Oscar Clough coming in. I think like Purdue is number 2 in the country or number 1 in the country to start the season because of their offense. Like, well, we know it's elite. We know it's probably maybe the best unit in the entire country. And we know the pieces to what makes that offense so good. But this is also a team that finished, I think, 53rd in defense last year on Ken Palm. Yep, 53rd. And I think when you add a rim protector like Jacobson to kind of make up for all the drives they allowed and all the paint touches they allowed, it helps a lot. Like, I don't know how high they can jump, but I expect their defense to be at least 10 to 15 spots better than it was a year ago.
I definitely agree. I think that the fact that TKR won't have to be the 5-man, won't have to be the rim protector for this team is going to make such a big difference on that in particular. They were dead last in the Big Ten, 332nd in 2-point percentage defense, 358th in block rate, because they just didn't have options to go to for rim protection. They had to, like, Raleigh Burgess wasn't giving them rim protection off the bench. He wasn't worth taking TKR off the floor for. But I think they have ways that they can still be really efficient offensively and better defensively with TKR on the floor and with TKR off the floor this year. I don't think they're going to need to be I don't think they'll bleed as much without him, and I think that they can limit the trouble with him as well.
Yeah, and I mean that's the exciting thing for this Purdue team is, like, right at worst, like worst case scenarios, they kind of just run back last year, but now they have a better center. I love Caleb First, but he was good. He was solid defensively, just unique. Wasn't somebody that Purdue necessarily wanted to fit in their system. Now Painter can get back, especially defensively, to like that deep drop coverage with the big. I think, right, you're going to give up mid-range shots, you're going to give up some pull-up threes and live with it, but you actually have a legitimate rim protector. They weren't as bad, I think, as people thought on the glass, especially on the defensive glass. But it wasn't like a strength last season for them by any means. You expect to be much better in that area with Clough, with Jacobson back. I also think, like, right, because the perimeter defense is probably the weakest part of this Purdue team. And it's not going to be elite, right? I think there are good defenders between CJ Jakari, Antoine West. Like, those three can be legit good perimeter defenders. But now on the backside, instead of, right, when Fletcher Lawyer gets blown by, it's not funneled to TKR or like Camden Heidi. It's going to be funneled to Jacobson or Clough, and that should make up a lot of things defensively. They don't have to be elite defensively. They just, like, I think this offense is going to be so good. Like, it should be number 1, but I think it's going to be like number 1 with a big gap to number 2 in terms of offensive efficiency. Like, and if that's the case, you just need to be top 30-ish defense, top 25, and that should be good enough to make you a legit contender.
Yeah, I mean, preseason Purdue's defense is 124.5. I would be surprised if they're under like 126 by the end of the season. And they're number 1 by 3 whole points, which is like already a huge gap. There's one other Big Ten team in the top 10 for offense. We'll get to them at some point. But yeah, Purdue, I look at the fact that they're also going to be able to have Omer Mayer coming off the bench or sliding him in at some point as just another option, a change of pace. You not that you ever want to take Braden Smith out of the game, but if you want to kind of change the look up a little bit of how the offense is running, if you want to kind of take a little bit of pressure off of Smith, if you want to run some different actions, Mayer can handle the ball, Mayer can pass. He can also come and play off the ball. which is I think what he's going to be doing mostly because
Yeah.
you're not taking Smith off the floor in big spots. But the fact that they just have that in there, and he's, I think, so much more dynamic than Lawyer. Not that Lawyer is not a good player, but does so many different things. There's more versatility in this backcourt. There's more versatility in this front court. It's just a deeper Purdue basketball team this year. You look at what they did last year, and their bench minutes weren't like super low, but it felt like they kind of were who they were. Like Cox could come in and unlock a game a little bit. Heidi could come in and make some shots, but like they were still playing the same basketball no matter what was going on. And I think that this year they can have different looks, different ways to more ways to beat you this year. So I think they'll be better than they were last year, but by a good amount.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just right, like there's gonna be at some point some lineup where like Myers the fourth option offensively. And like that's just wild to think about. That he'll be the fourth option and like Oscar Clough is the fifth option, or Jacobson, or whatever you want to, kind of throw in there. And just it's super deep. CJ Cox, Sha'Carri Harris, Antoine West, they are all going to get minutes unless West redshirts, in which he'd be the best redshirt Painters had in half a decade plus.
He'd be the best redshirt in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonathan, anything else to add on Purdue?
I don't think I have a ton more to add. I do like mentioning the depth. I do think this team is one of the deepest teams in the country. I mean, Raleigh Burgess had like the highest block rate on the team last year for anyone that actually got real minutes.
That's not saying very much.
It wasn't very high. No, I think that just shows you like kind of where Purdue was at last year and where they could be this year with adding Clough and Jacobson. And then I think people are not talking enough about the fact that, like, what if Cox and Harris both take leaps and become substantially better than they were last year, which, like, wasn't bad for either of them by any means.
I think Cox really could.
Yeah. We kind of knew by this time last year that, like, they got one.
Yeah.
Them.
Like Cox's junior year, he's going to be really good. I just don't know how good he's going to be this year. Probably pretty good.
He's going to be really good in his role, and like the counting numbers may not be there. He might not even improve. He might decrease his points per game in that, but like him, Sha'Carri, and Anton West, like they're going to be very good in that role of 3-and-D wing or guard, and kind of the lead perimeter defender. Like that is what they're going to be asked to do. Myers the only one kind of coming off the bench where he'll have more juice to kind of go create, I think.
Best season storyline that I feel like not many people are talking about. Braden Smith chasing the assist record.
Yeah.
He has a very real shot at it.
Yeah, especially if Purdue can go on a deep run.
What'd you say, Sam?
What does he need to average? You're going to say Purdue plays like 38 games?
I think it's like less than he averaged last year, I want to say.
I thought it was like right around.
Maybe like right around the same number.
Yeah, because he averaged 8.7 last year. I thought it might have been like if they played 38 or something, it was like 8.4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, 38 with this team seems like a very real possibility.
Yeah, I mean, they played 36 last year.
Yeah. All right, let's move on and talk about team number 2, who Jonathan, I know you love. I know I love. I think this is kind of everybody's one of everybody's favorite offseason winners. One of everybody's favorite teams last year to watch. They're going to be one of everyone's favorite teams to watch this year in a completely different way, and that's Michigan. Year 2 for Dusty May. I've talked so much on this podcast about how much I love Dusty May and how I feel that the way he coaches, the way he builds rosters, it just kind of makes sense in modern basketball. It's very positionless. It's very kind of, will give you the guys and we'll figure out a way to kind of make it work. I'm not afraid to take players out of traditional roles. I'm not afraid to kind of take players and do things that not everyone would do with these players. But it's just I think his coaching ability kind of really was on display last year with how he elevated that Michigan team. and got the most out of its talent.
Yeah, I mean this I'm very excited to watch this Michigan team. I think that they'll have a legit case to be like a top 5 team in the country. I think they're every bit of a potential Final Four contender. I think they're every bit of a team that can go and win the Big Ten championship right away this year. It's going to be a little bit different. Like, I am fascinated to watch them just grab like 40% of their misses on the offensive glass, because like the spacing is going to be clunky, but it's literally not, it's just not going to matter, because it's like, all right, yeah, sure, we shot 22% from 3, but like we went and rebounded 50% of those. So like, good luck stopping us at the rim then when we grab it. I think this defense can be elite, like top 2, 3 in the country type elite. Yeah, and it's just you look at the front court, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. They probably have do they have a better front court than Purdue? It's close, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty close.
Yeah,
I think there's more upside to the front court than Purdue.
Yeah, that's. I don't think you have anyone on that team that can score like TKR does. But
true. Yeah, I mean, because Yaxel's numbers should drop some. He'll still be incredibly good.
Yeah, like I'm not expecting him to be like a 20 points per game guy for that team. But
like Yaxel was one of like 4 players in the country last year to average like I forget what the numbers were when I tweeted it out. It was him, Brooks Barnheiser, Earl Timberlake, and Cooper Flagg that were the 4 to average. It was a certain number of points, rebounds, and assists. And I did it for an Earl Timberlake stat, and then the UAB fans took over the tweet. But he's one of the most unique players in college basketball. Like a true do-it-all player. Like we say that about a lot of players. Yax is like one of the actual like do-it-all guys. Can shoot, can pass, has a lot of the type of athleticism and game and kind of game IQ that Janai Broom had in a sense, where he's just going to go out there and he's going to get 20, 12, and 6. And like it'll look like he's just so dominant. Probably not quite the same rim protector that Broom is, even though he's still a tremendous rim protector. He won't have to be around the rim a lot this year because they have Merez Johnston and Ade Mara as well.
Yeah.
So I guess, we talked a lot already. I'll add this. I think they have 10 playable guys. I think Winters Grady is going to be one of the best shooting freshmen in the country off the bench for them. Defensively, obviously questions, but I think he's playable. I think Trey McKinney might start for them. I think he's that good. And Gale was like better towards the end of the season, but I like the upside with McKinney here. Defensively, Joe, you said it. I think they're going to be one of the best 2 to 3 defenses in the country. Hard to say that they'll be better than Houston, but they have the tools to be elite. Spacing is like the one question I would have with them. But if McKinney can hit shots, if Kaysen can hit shots, if Burnett hit shots again, I mentioned Grady. Like there's a path to this being a team that I wouldn't say is an elite shooting team, but it's definitely not a weakness for them.
Yeah, I mean, I also like you mentioned Roddy Gale. Like I think he's a little better than what he put on last year. I think he's got more in him than what we saw, and I think that kind of showed in some of his best games. I know that the career 3-point shooting number is low, but like he was even below. He was way below that even last year. Like they were really good despite that. I think if Gale can kind of be like in the low 30s, even like 31%, which seems pretty reasonable for how skilled of a player he is. I think we can see him be productive. Maybe not. He's not going to be a star, but they obviously don't need him to be. I think Gale can kind of bounce back in a sense and make McKinney's life easier, make Cadeau's life easier, make everyone in that backcourt's life a lot easier.
So I'll add this as well. And we haven't really mentioned him outside of like actually saying his name. I think Ademara is going to be a total stud for them this year. Like he had like the best block rate, like per minute block rate in like college basketball history last year for a guy that like actually played. 7-3, good touch around the rim, just a complete like he cleans it up so well inside. You can funnel guys towards the rim and still force turnovers. I think with him on the floor. Offense, I think, will come along this year with more minutes. Like his metrics were not bad at all last year offensively, and I think they will only get better playing for a more offensive-minded coach. Like it would not surprise me if his conditioning is better and he's able to play more. This is a Big Ten Player of the Year candidate.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe don't quite get to Big Ten Player of the Year, but like I did like a player rating for every player. I have them. The way I have it is like there's like Big Ten Player of the Year, and then the next level is like the best player on like an arbitrary Big Ten team, and I have him pretty much at that type of level of that like best player on arbitrary Big Ten team. Like I think he'll just play more. I think getting away from Mick Cronin is going to even help him more. And even like he put up a 17.1 block rate, which insane. He was primarily in like hedge coverage at UCLA. Like it wasn't like he was just sitting in deep drop at the rim. Like he was doing that in hedge coverage, being able to recover. Then obviously, things getting funneled to him. You see kind of the success that Dusty had with like Golden. I think Lendenborg and Mara are the two best players on this team, and I don't know if it's particularly close.
Yeah. In terms of like an actual like impact to the game, I think it's easily those two.
Yeah, and that's why
which is weird because like the names that I feel like have been talked about all offseason with this team are Yaxel and Merez, who I'm sure none of us think Merez is bad either, but
no,
I think he's the third best player in this front court.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little lower on Mara than you are, Jonathan. I think he's really good. I think there's some things that he does a little sloppy for a guy, but for a guy at that size, like you can't complain about what he gives you. It's just, is there going to be a way where he can stay on the floor a little more? But does he need to? Does he even need to? Like if he plays 38% of the minutes this year, like that's not necessarily a bad thing for Michigan. It just means that, hey, we can play Merez Johnson this, we can play Yak this. If Mara is able to give you 50% of the minutes, even better. That's great for you as well. I think there's a lot of ways that Michigan could divvy up the minutes and it be a really, really good team because there's that much talent on this roster. And I also kind of briefly want to talk a little bit about Elliot Cadeau. Jonathan, you kind of had to remind me like a couple times like how good we thought Elliot Cadeau was coming out of high school.
Dude, I had him as like the number one player in that class as a reclass.
Yeah, and
that was my first year like doing any sort of like serious scouting. So like looking back on it, probably not the most ideal decision, but like still think he can be a productive player in the right system.
Yeah, I mean, like definitely not like a good first 2 years compared to what I expected. There are clear flaws, but the guy had the number 13 assist rate in the country last year. And that's the interesting thing for me. Like that is not something that we're used to with a Dusty team. We're not used to one guy as the primary ball handler. But because I think he's so good at kind of playing to what he has and finding the best way to unlock certain players, I think that it's really easy to trust what Dusty's doing with this team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what he did with Trey Donaldson, and I know they're different players, him and Cadeau, but like, I have no issue with the Cadeau signing. Maybe like, is he the best point? Is he like going to be one of the best point guards in the Big Ten? No, but he should be good, and you get him on a team where he's I mean, if depending on what McKinney does, he's the third or fourth best player on offense on the floor. Like, he'll be fine in that
He's
role.
he's got to like be a little bit less timid as a shooter, I think.
Yeah.
Space the floor a little better when you'll have like Lendeberg running sets at the top of the key or at the elbow, because I know that's something that they're going to have to do and they're going to want to do. I wonder if they're going to kind of bring back a little bit of that 4-5 pick and roll with Lendeberg at all, because I think he can handle it. But that's going to rely on having Cadeau make shots in order to space the floor for that, because they had a little bit of spacing with that last year, and especially if you're playing Gale, and Gale doesn't have the jump that I think he can as a shooter into being semi respectable. Then I don't know how you can run that action efficiently. But I think that's kind of the question for Cadeau. It's not like, oh, is he going to be a really good point guard? It's going to be, is he going to be able to shoot well enough for Dusty to kind of use him in unique ways.
Yeah.
That'll bring us to number 3. And there's definitely for me a gap between 2 and 3. But I think like from 3 down to like 11, there's like this basically no gap. And I think that's kind of what we love about this. And for me, number 3 is Indiana.
Wow.
I've been very low on Indiana in past years. And I to be completely honest, I did not realize that I had Indiana at number 3 until I typed it in right now. Like, I did not think that I would have Indiana 3rd in the Big Ten. And looking at it, it feels crazy. But I love this Indiana team. I think that they will score a ton. I think everybody on this roster can flat out score the basketball. I think Darian DeVries was a terrific hire, and I'm really excited to watch. This Indiana team is going to be like must watch in a good way. The last couple of Indiana teams have been must watch in a bad way.
So I'll start here. I think 3's a little bit high, just because I think their ceiling's probably a little lower compared to maybe some of these other teams.
Like,
but
no doubt Illinois has a higher ceiling. No doubt UCLA has a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
No doubt some of those teams have a higher ceiling.
But I think it's really hard for me to look at this Indiana team and say like they're gonna miss the NCAA tournament entirely. Like, their offense should be really good. They added a bunch of guys that like scored like 15 plus points per game at their previous stop. I promise you, not all of them are going to score 15 points per game. Otherwise, they're going to be the best team in the country.
Yeah.
But to be serious here, like, Tucker DeVries was one of the best mid-major players in the country for multiple years. Lamar Wilkerson was one of the best mid-major players in the country last year. Tatum Conaway, elite passing point guard. I think there's a lot of pieces here. Rim defense could be a problem if they don't hit on Sam Alexis.
It will be a problem. That is baked into this.
Yeah. Sam Alexis is like their only hope at being a halfway decent rim defense. But Reed Bailey is another positive on the offensive end. Connor Enright's a guy that played for Darian DeVries at Drake. Huge, like, good energy guy. Trent Sisley seems like he kind of has hit for them. Like, there have been some good reports about him, and I'm not high on him, so I might be wrong on that one. But yeah, I think this is a good offensive team. I'd hesitate to put them in the top 3 just because I think their ceiling's a little lower with their defense. But I think I see this as a tournament team.
Joe?
Yes, I mean, I'm definitely lower. I honestly, because the way I kind of did my, and I can still tweak these rankings before I officially put them out, but like I have them 10th, but like
it's fair.
The gap between
the gap from 3 to 11 is like nothing.
Yeah, the gap. I mean, the way I did it, I just like try to predict essentially Ken Palm rankings. Like the gap from 7 to 10 is like 5 spots. So right, they're kind of in that middle of the pack type team to me. The offense is going to be fun. They're going to be fun. Like, regardless of whether they make the tournament or not, like, not, I mean, I think they should probably, but they're a bubble team to me. The offense is just going to be fun. Like, IU fans will enjoy watching their games, which when was the last time that they were able to do that? I don't know who's going to defend on this roster outside of Connerway. And they're going to probably go Bailey at the 4. I don't love Alexis. I don't love really any of the bigs that they got outside of Bailey offensively. I
think the best case scenario for Indiana is they kind of just like say fuck it and go just Bailey at 5. Tucker
that's exactly where I was going. Yeah, it's like I kind of just want them to see them do that and
be a top 3 offense in the country. Do it.
Yeah,
like that's your ceiling, and I think that's kind of what I like about this Indiana team. I think everybody can score. Connerway.
Where would you like? Where I'll just put you on the spot, I guess. Where does IU's offense end up in Ken Pom at the end of the year?
I would be surprised if it's outside like the top 12, probably in the top 10.
Okay.
Just with these guys, and I haven't like done like a ranking of the top offenses.
Yeah.
And I've probably said like, oh, they're going to be a top 10 offense about 15 teams this week. But
you'll be right eventually. Then
they're 35th and 41st in offense and defense.
I think like you could see them be 5th and 71st.
Yeah, I think that the offense is too low and the defense is probably too high.
Yeah, I agree with you guys there.
But like 8 and 68 last year was 19th in Ken Pom. That was Mizzou. Like so, there's a path for them being outside the top 70 in defense, inside the top 10 in offense, and still being a top 20, top 25 team. And I have them at like 20 in my preseason rankings. So I think that's totally something that's in play. And I love these offensive pieces. Tucker DeVries, like we've talked about Tucker DeVries on this podcast for as long as this podcast has existed. He is a special player. He was a special player at Drake. He is going to be one of the best players in the Big Ten, for like no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
just scoring ability off the charts. Can score from anywhere. He was the like. This is going to be corny. Like he was the Larry Bird of the Valley when he was in the Valley. It's just like he'll score from anywhere. He'll beat you anyway.
He was freshman of the year and a 2-time player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Bird Trophy winner.
Yeah.
And then you look at Connerway, probably the only guy in this 5 that'll guard at a high level, at a reasonable level. But I think he can run an offense. He can run a winning offense, and I love Reed Bailey's offense. It's unique, really unique and special for a guy at that size to kind of have a perimeter game that strong, to have a driving game, to have an ability to score at the rim. I like the 3-point shooting. The numbers are kind of low, but I do think he has I think he has the ability to kind of expand that a little bit, especially with the spacing that IU is going to have this year. That might be something we'll see a little more of. Enright's good. Wilkerson hasn't really been talked about a ton by us, but another guy that scores a ton. Again, I don't know exactly how I feel about like like Josh Harris or Jason Drake, Josiah Miles. Like, don't know how I feel about those guys. I know Nick Doran can shoot. Don't think he can really do much else. But I think the first 5 for this team, if you go like Connerway, Enright, Wilkerson, Tucker, and Reed Bailey, that's going to be an offensive 5 that's really hard to stop.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the depth. I'm not as high on Enright, I think. But like for me, this is the top 4. The top 4 is going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah. Number 4 for me. And this is like, again, the gap between some of these teams is super slow, and it's Iowa. Jonathan, should I say the line?
Yeah.
We actually might have definitive proof, though, now.
Why? Because they lost by 25 in an exhibition game?
So the whole thing is that there's no definitive proof out there that Ben McCollum isn't the best coach in college basketball. Although he did lose a secret scrimmage by 25 points to St. Louis. So there's no definitive proof there. But there is definitive proof that Josh Schertz probably isn't the best coach in college basketball, considering St. Louis It was a little disappointing last year, even though they dealt with a lot of injuries. I'm not concerned at all about Iowa. There's a reason I still have them fourth. I trust Ben McCollum. But we might have the first piece of definitive proof that he's not the best coach in college basketball. He is a human. That is the first proof that he's a human that we've ever gotten, I think.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I have Iowa and IU like right next to each other, kind of both middle packy. I buy both offenses, concerned about both defenses to varying degrees. But Bennett Sturs and Ben McCollum, like this is just going to be a competitive team. Like there's just no way that it isn't. I think the Fulgaris hype maybe got a little bit too much for me. And at some point, like I know, like at some point, I think the Big Ten athleticism and size and that is going to give them real issues, just kind of with their depth pieces. But you have Sturts, like they still have skill everywhere, right? Hawson, obviously coming from K-State, just he's going to purely shoot the ball. I like Koch, I like Thompson, I like Fulgaris. Like there are guys on this roster that I think fit pretty well with Sturts and with McCollum. And when you have, Sturts will have every argument to be a Big Ten player of the year. Like, and McCollum's one of the best coaches. Like that's going to give you such a high floor, I think, as a team.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm pretty high on this team as well, Sam. I think that Sturts is one of the best players in the country. He's started to pop up on draft boards this offseason. Brendan Housen, I think, is just like a better version of what they had with Mitch Mascari at Drake. So really like that addition. Sam, like the line we used for Tavion Banks is just like he makes stuff happen. Like I don't think he ends up starting for this team. I think he'll be the first guy off the bench for them. I think Cooper Koch will end up be the guy starting for this team because I really think that they're going to try to play better offense than they did last year. I still think that they will try to play slow just because I think last year, like the way they played with a similar group of guys worked so well. And I think it can work in the Big Ten, Sam, because
I think
like McCollum is just such a good coach that like I don't really like regression obviously finds everyone, but like I could still see them being really good in close games just because teams aren't used to playing that slow. And you have to make the most of your opportunities against them. Fulgaris was a great addition. I loved bringing along Maniau and Howard. Trey Thompson is like the name I'm probably most interested to watch for this team just because I think he's a little unknown right now. Reclass freshman. Haven't actually gotten to see the tape yet, but I've heard good things and heard that he could actually be a real player for them this year. If he can be a real player for them, I don't think this team has a depth issue. If any of these freshmen really step up, I don't think they have like a real depth issue, except for maybe in the front court. If it ends up being like Sage, that's the one that hits, and the other two aren't quite ready.
Yeah, and like the preseason adjusted tempo, like Iowa is like dead last in the country in preseason adjusted tempo, 65.4. Do you know what Drake's adjusted tempo was last year? 59.4. So there's a lot of room beneath, like even where the bottom of what KenPom projects for them to get even freakier with this type of stuff. I loved the Fulgaris edition. I think that's the perfect pick and pop, pick and roll partner for Sturts. Just the type of guy that he hasn't really had.
That's 59.4. That's a possessions per 40 minutes, right?
I think that's what adjusted tempo measures.
Okay. Yeah.
But Fulgaris is like such a great pick and pop, pick and roll partner for Sturts. Just the type of guy that he didn't really have last year. Maniau is great, but that's not like what he is. And I think you can play Fulgaris with Maniau in different ways. They're going to start together. We know that. We're pretty sure of that. Would be concerned if that wasn't going to happen. And just the blueprint for like taking the next step up, I can totally see it. Now, is it possible that like, hey, Drake was 52nd in Ken Palm last year. Is it possible that Iowa's just like a slightly better version of that and they're like 41st? Yeah, sure, it's possible. But I'll bet on Ben McCollum.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be solid. Have concerns about the defense. Like I know Fulgaris's numbers were good, so it's not as big, but like, I don't know. Do they get enough rim protection from like him and Manuel and Uric at the Big Ten level? Do they have guys that can guard on the perimeter that are going to also be playing heavy minutes? Like, Howard, I know he popped defensively on the tape that I watched. Like, there are guys, and maybe it just doesn't matter. Like, maybe it really doesn't matter with Bennett. Like, Bennett Sturts is just so good. It doesn't matter. Like, just put 4 dudes out there with him and he'll find a way. It's going to be interesting to see. Also, I have to call him out on every single podcast I do that we talk Iowa. Trevin Uric, he is my guy. Like, this dude is, in the high school film I watched, like, he does some things at his size with the ball that just you don't see ever. His passing ability, his playmaking ability, like I think there is a scenario though. I think he's a Big Ten Player of the Year in like 2 years, 3 years. He is special. I don't know what his minutes are this year, and he might need a year. And it's weird for me to be like, oh, this dude's so special, but also he might need some time. But that's kind of where I'm at with him.
I don't think that's crazy. That's what college basketball was like for most of its existence.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's move on and talk about team number 5. Another one of the teams that just like on night 1 of the season, I can't wait to watch this team. Definitely higher ceiling than the 2 teams we just talked about, and that's Illinois. A lot of buzz for Illinois right now. They were 6th in Ken Palm's preseason rankings. That's a little rich for my blood. They'll be a really good team, though. I think that adding a veteran point guard in quotation marks, a guy who's been a professional at a high level in Mihailo Petrovic for as long as he has and doing it as well as he has is something that in college basketball, that's basically going out there and getting a high level transfer. And Brad Underwood is just doing it in a different part of the world than everyone else at this point. It was kind of they were kind of the first team to bring in like the Europeans, and then all of them started flocking into different spots. And Illinois this year is not just about the European players coming in. Tomislav Ivičić came in last year, and it was really impressive. And now he's back for year 2. I think Zvonimir Ivičić next to Tomislav Ivičić is just about like the best you can do as like a mirror for like a guy off the bench that does some stuff a little differently, but still gives you like a good rim protection, stretch the floor skill set. So I actually really like that duo of the 2 Ivičić brothers. I think they complement each other well, which is weird because you usually think of brothers they play very similarly. They don't, like they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
Like they do kind of the similar things, but they get there in different ways. And I think that's kind of why it's going to be so effective as like a double. It's kind of like a double, not a double pivot, but like a
tandem.
Yeah, tandem. Kylan Boswell, just another really experienced guy. This team has a lot of like basketball experience. Not Boswell being the guy who's been in college and played for good college basketball teams. But Petrovic has a lot of basketball experience. The Ivičićs have a lot of basketball experience. And then there's Keaton Wagler, who's been off-season player of the year.
Yeah.
Like he's winning the Con Canipolo Award this year.
Literally.
Of best off-season in college basketball. Like, I genuinely don't think I've ever seen every year there's a couple like freshmen that are like in the 20s, 30s, or 40s in the rankings that like by the time the season starts, everyone knows they're going to be like a top 5 freshman. Keaton Wagler was a 3-star, 150th in his class, and he's being talked about like he's a first-round pick, like shoe-in right now.
We had one last year, and we actually already talked about him on this pod. CJ Cox. He wasn't a draft pick, but like,
yeah, but it's different. It's different.
he was
CJ
a
Cox
3-star that we, by the time the season started, we knew he was going to be really good.
Yeah, but like but the way they're talking about Wagler is different from the way they were talking about CJ.
No, I agree. I agree with most of what you're saying. Like Wagler, there is being talked about like he's going to be drafted next year. Like he will have one season at Illinois. First of all, I think you are insane if you didn't see the pronunciation guide and move Illinois up in your rankings. I thought that was freaking awesome. I do wish that they had Ty Rodgers off the bench this year. I felt like having a guy who could come in and defend on the wing would have really helped this team. But at the same time, they're old. The international storyline with them is a really fun one. Petrovic, I think, could be one of the best point guards in the Big Ten. We know how good Tomey is already. Interested to see how Stojakovic fits in here because he was like kind of like ball in his hands, score a ton at Cal, and I don't think that's going to be his role here. I think Petrovic is going to be the one initiating offense for them. But at the same time, like I like the Mirkovic film, I like the Petrovic film. We know what both Ivisic brothers do, and I actually think that this is probably a much better fit as a team for Ben Hummerkaus, who wasn't super great last year.
Yeah, for me, Illinois, they're a team that like they're gonna start on the outside looking in terms of like Big Ten title contention and all that, but like their ceiling is Final Four, winning the Big Ten. Like that is the ceiling of this team for sure. I'm all in on Tomislav. Like I think he's a top 7-8 player in the conference. He is really impactful defensively in that deep drop coverage that they love to play. I also think they can tap in more into his passing and playmaking ability, especially this year where, I think Petrovic will obviously, when he is in, it'll be run through him, but I don't know if he's going to play more than 20 to 25 minutes a game. And I think you can kind of tap into Tomislav that way of like, all right, you're kind of our handoff hub. You're going to be some of the playmaking. They got like you said, experienced dudes kind of everywhere. Boswell, Stojakovic. I also really like the Mirkovic film. They're going to have a very good center on the floor at all times. I'm curious if they ever try both of Visic's at the same time.
I don't need to see that.
I need to see it at least once. Just
okay.
Once.
I need to see it. I don't need to like be watching it.
That's fair. I think depth is like the only sort of concern, especially at the guard room. Now, if Wagler is as good as advertised, like then that kind of goes away. I had him as when I did my rating, I have him as like a 6th to 7th man kind of caliber player. And even if he's just that, like that's good enough for what they need. They do feel to me out of like this top tier of teams, my top tier is different, but out of like the top kind of tier that I had, like they do feel the most like widest range of outcomes where it's like, yeah, if they finish like 4th in KenPom, not shocking, but if they finish like 28th or something, it's not like the biggest surprise.
Jonathan?
I feel like what Joe just said has been kind of a theme for Illinois for a couple of years now. Like this is just a high ceiling, low floor kind of program at this point. Like a couple of years, we aren't that far removed from like that 2023 season where like it felt like half the team had like quit on Underwood by January. But at the next year he goes to the Elite Eight. So like if this team is playing in Indianapolis at the end of the season, I wouldn't be terribly surprised. If this team in March is, playing as an 8th seed or playing in road uniforms in the first round of the NCAA tournament, I don't feel like I would be that surprised either.
Yeah, that's I just as we said, like one of the most intriguing like opening night watches because we have no idea what it's going to look like, but I think we all agree that it's going to look pretty fun.
When's their first like real marquee game?
Texas Tech
on Tuesday night, the 11th.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And they get them at home.
Yeah, it is at home. And then they also have a neutral with Alabama a week later.
Yeah, I'll get Illinois at the Garden against UConn in late November. So that'll be a fun one for me.
Yeah.
I think that's the only one of the
If Illinois wins that game, does Hurley set like a limit on like a team that has international players that they'll play? Like they won't play a team with more than 3 international players.
If they lose that game, does Hurley say, like, what does Hurley say in that press conference?
Whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, whatever he feels like.
He's gonna. I can't. Okay. In the most watching college basketball only way possible, I can't wait for the first time UConn loses this year just to hear what Dan Hurley says after it. Like, and I say that as a UConn fan. Like, I want UConn to win, but I really want. But when they lose, it is funny.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Especially like when they're really good and they lose. Not like when they're bad and they lose, it's different. Like the whole Maui thing, like it was just that whole thing was bad. They were by the time they got back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Illinois. Number 6, and this is I've moved Washington down because before the Ognjenovic injury, I would have had Washington, I think at 4, but I moved them down a couple spots. And now we've got UCLA at number 6. I didn't realize that I was kind of like going to have UCLA at 6. I kind of thought I would have had them a little lower. But UCLA is definitely a team with a pretty high ceiling. A lot of fun players. Donovan Dent comes in from New Mexico, can really run the floor. I think his ability to run in transition, start fast breaks, go grab and go, just create quick offense is kind of what elevated him into being one of the best point guards in the country, which is why I found it a little strange that he chose UCLA with Mick Cronin, who is not known for that. But Mick Cronin's a good enough coach and Donovan Dent's a good enough player to the point where it'll probably find a way to work out. There's probably not a scenario in which that marriage is. There's probably not a likely scenario where that marriage is a flame out. It probably won't be. It's probably not the best fit for each other, like in the world, but they're good enough at what they do to figure it out. Sky Clark as well. I think Joe tweeted about this today. The defense that he provided last year, the on-ball pressure, just a massive step up. One of the best perimeter defenders in the sport last year. Will probably be that again. Eric Daly and Tyler Bilodeau in the front court. I don't know how I feel about the 5 spot for this team with Jamerson and Booker. I kind of feel that I would love to see them try Bilodeau and Daly as the 4 or 5 at times, because I think those two can be really good. I think Daly is kind of like Mick's new Gary Clark in a way. Bilodeau, a really fun like forward scorer. But I'm definitely lower on UCLA than most people. I have them 28th, or will probably be 27th once I finish moving Washington down. But I do still think this is like a good basketball team. The floor, I think, is really high. I don't know how, and the ceiling is probably pretty high too. I'm just kind of on the lower side of where I think they're going to end up.
Can I start here?
Yeah.
I don't think this team's that much better than they were a year ago, if
it.
at all. Like, I don't really see the hype. Donovan Dent's a very good player. I think this is about the worst offensive fit in terms of a system that he could have went to. He is a player that needs to play fast. Unless Cronin is like dramatically changing how they play offense, I don't know how this is going to work. I'm sure his numbers will still be all right, but I would have much preferred he went somewhere that is like known for playing fast. Clark, good keep. Daly, Sam, you and I have talked about Daly and Bilodeau a lot. I think both are solid players. I prefer Daly. I just think he does more on the defensive end than Bilodeau does, and they're relatively similar production offensively, or at least efficiency. I think that losing a Mara and replacing him with Xavier Booker is about the biggest downgrade you could possibly have. I've never been a Xavier Booker guy. Maybe Cronin fixes him. Don't know. I think if this team improves, it's going to be because Jamar Brown was a really sneaky good addition.
Yeah, and I think there's a
and Trent Perry takes a massive, massive leap, which I think is totally possible. I like this film in high school, but I think this team coming into the season has depth questions, and I don't think they very much, if at all, improved their roster from a year ago.
I mean, yeah, like UCLA was 20th in KenPom last year. They were 27th heading into the tournament, and I said they're probably going to end up 27th in my preseason rankings. Like, I definitely think there's ways in which they can be better than they were last year, but I also think that I look at what UCLA, what UCLA brought in. I think what they lost. I like some of it. I don't like all of it. I think there's enough there. I think there's enough smart minds, there's enough talented players for this to work out in some way.
I'm kind of all in on UCLA. I think they're going to be like a top 10-ish team. What I kind of keep falling back on is like they were 20th in KenPom last season, and they finished, I think they were tied for 4th in the Big Ten, with having that 5-game meltdown early on in January. Like worst case scenario is they run back the exact same formula as last season, but instead of Dylan Andrews and Sebastian Mack, that's the like we've in Dents have 3 to 4 shooters surrounding him almost at all times. And that's not even 3 to 4 is like the 3 would be if Booker, like the shot continues to not be existent, which is very possible. I'm a little bit more concerned about the defense than I was last year. Like Kobe Johnson, he's one of my favorite players I've ever watched play basketball, or at least college basketball. Like, I think his loss is probably being a bit overlooked defensively, but I think there'll be like KenPom has him 18 offense and 7 defense. I would almost bet those numbers close to flip. Like, I would expect the offense to be better than the defense.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure how I would like view this team's offense versus its defense. I have to see what they look like. To say that, what are they going to do with Dent? How are they going to kind of operate that? And Jonathan mentioned Jamar Brown. I think Jamar Brown was definitely a guy that could be a sneaky good get that can really shoot it for a team that I think we'll be using that for sure. They were, but as we mentioned, the key thing for UCLA is I still think they'll be able to force. They'll be able to force a lot of turnovers. That was kind of what made them great last year on the defensive side of the ball, aside from obviously having Mara down low. But they forced a ton of turnovers. I still think they're going to play a ton of ball pressure. It's just what they do off of that ball pressure might be a little different with Dent running the show.
Yeah, I think I've said all I needed to say about this team.
All right, let's move on and talk about number 7, and that's going to be Wisconsin. Kind of just Wisconsin, just you can plop them down somewhere in the top half of the Big Ten, usually a little higher than this. But I feel like they always do better than my preseason prediction. Last year they pulled an All-American out of their ass. Don't think they're going to do that this year. Don't think Austin.
Well, they might pull another All-American, but it might not.
Yeah, but he was really good last year. I don't think we're going to see Andrew Rohde becoming an All-American out of nowhere.
No.
But John Blackwell could very well be an All-American.
Yeah.
Maybe the most underrated player in the Big Ten coming into this year.
I don't actually. Yeah, I don't know what he.
Returning
if he-
player. Returning player.
Yeah, did he get named to the preseason Big Ten team? I don't actually. I should probably know this, but I don't know if he did or not. Um, but yeah, I mean he's awesome. He is somebody that like I think he's gonna be able to take another jump. I love the Nick Boyd edition in part because of that. Like, right, Wisconsin's system is so like you don't need a true point guard with their continuity ball screen kind of offense, but like Boyd will be the guy that can handle the ball. Like Boyd is going to be what Blackwell was last year, at least role wise. Maybe numbers aren't the same, but like kind of like, yeah, he can score the ball, but he has to kind of initiate the offense still. Whereas now Blackwell to me feels like he's going to just be Tanjay, like that type of role of like just literally just go hoop and score, like grab ball, put it in hoop. I'm very excited to see that. Like I really their depth across the board concerns me. I mean, Braden Carrington off the bench, I think, is a fine player. The bigs, somebody's got to emerge out of the big room, not named Nolan Winter. Like Austin Rapp is going to be the guy projected to do so, at least to start. They need somebody off the bench. I would bet Will Garlock, but that's an incoming freshman. That's a lot of pressure. I think that's the one major concern is kind of what this front court looks like. But I mean, you look at their top four or even top three of Boyd, Blackwell, Winter. I'll take that top three against a lot of teams in the Big Ten. Add in Rhodey, who's going to be, I think, pretty good for them. Rapp has good upside and fits the system really well. Like, yeah, Wisconsin's just going to be good. High ceiling or yeah, high floor team. I also think their ceiling is probably a little bit higher than people are giving them credit for. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up as like number like 13 in Ken Palm or something like that. I guess I should. What are they in Ken Palm right now? My refusing to load, but I assume they're like 20 to 25 in Ken Palm. 20. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they're like 13 or something like that. Like I think that's kind of their ceiling, more closer to their ceiling outcome.
Yeah, I mean they are 17th in offense, 31st in defense. Not sure that they're going to get to 31st in defense, but 17th in offense feels fair. I could see them being like 17th and 40th.
Yeah,
I think they would have beaten the rest of the 6 seeds last year. By the way, like I thought BYU was a bad draw. I thought Wisconsin was like legitimately not fake last year, and then of course they got like the toughest of the 6 seeds that was playing like a top 10 team at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean Illinois, Missouri, and Mississippi were the other 3 6 seeds. So yeah, I definitely think they would have beaten those 3.
2 points here. One, Blackwell did make an All Big Ten team, which or the All Big Ten team. I guess they only had one.
Yeah.
And then 2, Sam, I'm deeming this the last chance for you to join the Nolan Winter train.
I think he's all right.
I think he's really good. I think he's gonna have a great year.
He's a solid Big Ten big man.
Like, do you think he's gonna be better than Crowell was last year?
Probably.
Because I think he will.
But we are talking right now about Steven Crowell, 5-time National Jack of the Year. I don't know how many podcasts I'm going to get the chance to mention that, but man, the Jag of the Year is going to have to go to someone not named Steven Crowell this year.
Yeah.
And I'm like searching hard to find somebody that can live up to his legacy.
Brad Davison's back on the Wisconsin bench.
Yeah, but he was never a Jag. That's the thing.
That's fair.
He was just like best.
We're not concerned about that. The assistant that left, right?
I think that's kind of like
they have the formula already.
Yeah, like maybe it's marginally worse. Like maybe the offense bumps down a couple spots in Ken Palm, but I can't see it being more than that.
No, they already modernized it. Like I don't think they need him there for it to still be effective.
Agreed.
All right. Let's move on and go to number 8. And this is kind of where
one more thing. Will Brad Davison receive a technical foul from the bench this year?
Not year 1, but year 2.
He might take a charge.
He needs to get a little more comfortable.
He might take a charge.
Just slides in.
Charge
He's got to be annoying to practice against for these guys.
Charge this year, what would David Campbell's reaction be?
I don't think we would hear from him again.
What if it were against Minnesota?
Joe, I have a friend who's a Minnesota fan, and like you think you know people that hate Brian Davison, and like I think if like there was one, if nobody on earth left hated Brian Davison, it'd be because he's dead.
Fair. That makes sense
All
with the
right.
Minnesota-Wisconsin thing too.
Number 8. This is where I landed on putting Washington. I have no idea if this is where I'm going to stick with them, but I love like what Danny Sprinkle did this offseason. I think if you're in on Danny Sprinkle at Washington, you have to be in on this team. That's kind of bad process, but like I'm in on Danny Sprinkle at Washington. I'm in on a lot of the guys that they brought in. I'm in on this team. Kamari Peterson was one of my favorite mid-major guards for the last 2 years. Wesley Yates was a guy I loved coming out of high school. Kind of had to wait a while for him to show up and play a role. But once he did, it was really, really good. Hannes Steinbach, one of the top 3 or 4 international players coming into college basketball this year. Just a wrecking crew of a guy. Rebounds like crazy, can score down low, can do a lot of things. He completely changed the ceiling of this team. When they got him and I saw him play, I moved them up a lot. I do have the concern of like, what if this team becomes too much Desmond Claude? And I think like of the guys on this roster, like you can get too much Desmond Claude, you can get too much Kamari Peterson. But I thought like there was and I think 2 years ago at ETSU was a great example of too much Kamari Peterson. He tried to do too much last year. Was a lot more comfortable. And I think that kind of having Peterson and Yates together will kind of alleviate the maybe too much Peterson or maybe too much Yates. But you throw a Claude in there, I'm not certain how that's going to work. Honestly, I think that this team will be best when they just realize kind of, hey, Desmond Claude is not like part of this team's best 5.
Yeah, where I'm at with like is if Claude's fine being like, all right, no, I'm the second, third option, like I'm going to excel in that role. I think the offense could be really, really good. If he's kind of like, all right, I need to be the guy still, like that's who I am. Like the offense will still be good, don't get me wrong, and he's still a good player, but I do think it limits the ceiling. Like I think Wesley Yates is far and away the best player on this team.
Really? You think he's better than Steinbach?
Yeah, I think so. At least for like the upcoming college season. Now, maybe Steinbach's probably the better pro prospect, although I know Yates is going to get.
I think
that
both
as well.
of them can be really, really good.
Yeah, exactly. But
I think Yates is going to get drafted.
No, I don't know if it's after this year or one more, but yeah, he will. I mean, I have Yates as the 12th best player in the conference, it looks like.
That seems fair.
I'm just kind of all in on him. I am a Danny Sprinkle believer. Like, I do think this will be a much better team than last year. To me, they fall in the IU Iowa category of like bubble type team that probably should be on the inside looking out. I am terrified of this defense. Like, I don't know who defends on this roster. They have Kepnong, who I really like as their center if he can stay healthy, and I think he can cover up some holes. But it's like Peterson, Yates, Claude, even Steinbach. Like, I don't really love the defense from any of them. I like Bryson Tucker's defense off the bench. Jasir Rencher, don't know if he'll play at all. That dude's defense eventually will be elite at some point in his career. That's my big concern, though. Like, I think I wouldn't be shocked if this is like a top 20 offense that's number 80 defensively in KenPom, something like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think I echo Joe's thoughts with the defense. I also think one of the important things for this team to figure out early is like they have a lot of guys in this backcourt that can play make. Some of them are going to have to be connecting pieces. Some of them will be ball handlers, and not everyone can play point guard for this team. So I think Peterson, Yates, Mandequit, those will probably be your 3 guys who handle the ball. Claude needs to be a connecting piece. And then I didn't mind like Zoom Diallo last year as a connecting piece either. So I know he's kind of buried, and so is maybe Bryson Tucker in this rotation.
Yeah.
On the perimeter. But they have a lot of intriguing options there. Steinbach, I think, is just like a double-double machine. I don't know how much defense he'll play, but he does rebound, and I do think he can score.
Yeah. For me, the Ignacevic injury was huge. Like, this is a team that kind of needs that adult in the room, who has been a winner, doesn't need the ball in his hands presence. I think kind of losing that off the floor really lowers the floor for this group. And that's kind of why I ended up dropping them. And I might still drop them a little bit more. But I think this team has the chance to be really, really good. Like, once Ignacevic is back, say they get him back January or February, and they can kind of get him ramped up and into February. And I mean, they have pretty winnable games like throughout February. Like, they don't play, like they're done with Purdue and Michigan by the middle of January. So those are my top two teams in the Big Ten. Most everyone's top two in the Big Ten. And they're done with them by mid-January. So I think that they have a lot of chances late in the season to kind of break through.
Yeah, this Washington team, like kind of the way I did my rankings, and that's I'm having to do quick math off the top of my head, but by my quick math, they are the widest range of outcome team to me in the Big Ten. Like, they could be a top 15, 20 team. Wouldn't shock me. The floor could kind of fall for them. I don't expect that to happen, but it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities to me. Lots of question marks, but Sprinkle's a good coach. So that's why I think they'll be solid still. Just if it feels like they're like one player not working away, like if one of the key players just doesn't hit, like it just kind of goes downhill quick.
Yeah, and kind of the opposite of that for me, a team that I feel like has a pretty high floor, like pretty low ceiling, just a team that I feel comfortable they will be like in the 30 to 40 range of Ken Pom, but probably not much higher, probably not much lower. And it's because I love the front court defense for me is USC. I think this defense is going to be one of the best in the Big Ten. The Amarian Dickerson, Jacob Kofi combination. The moment I saw it, I was like, yes, this is it. Like Dickerson was the defensive player of the year in the Horizon League, can switch guard multiple positions, really, really physical. Has what it takes. Kofi, whatever happened with Joe. You good?
I think I don't know. I feel like I'm lagging on my end. So if I am,
you were lagging.
Yeah. I don't know why.
But I love Jacob Kofi. I think that was a really, really good addition. I thought he was one of the bright spots at Virginia. Jaden Brownell, a guy that has some good size and athleticism, can come off the bench. Gabe Dines, who won't play very much, but when he does play, he'll block shots. I think kind of everyone in this front court, maybe aside from Ezra Assar, was brought in and can really be a really good defender for their role.
Yeah, I like this team.
Yeah,
I think. You good, Joe?
Yeah, I'm lagging.
Yeah.
Why don't you try leaving and coming back? Okay. I like this team, Sam. I think there's some upside to them, as well as you said, it's a pretty safe floor with how good the defense should be. Dickerson, great ad. Kofi, great ad. Rodney Rice and Chad Baker-Mazara are probably your two leading scorers for this team.
Yeah, definitely your two leading scorers.
And
I didn't even mention
both of them were like secondary, like good secondary options last year on very good teams. We'll see if one of them can be a primary option.
Yeah, I think Baker-Mazara is going to have to do a lot of ball handling, especially because Jordan Marsh, point guard for this team, but they might want to go to some lineups where they play a little bit bigger.
Well, yeah, it's Musselman. Like, you would assume there are some lineups with Rice, Baker-Mazara, Dickerson, and then, Williams or Assar, and then one of the bigs.
Yeah, and I think
Musselman. And Jerry Easter is a bigger guard, too.
Yeah, but I think Baker-Mazara, like, if you look at all the threes in this conference, he's probably one of the ones that you're a little more more comfortable with handling the ball. because he can do a lot of things. He is obviously like a flight risk. He has the technical foul problems. Well, okay, flight risk is not good.
Him not getting a technical foul in the NCAA tournament last year was a borderline miracle, by the way.
Yeah, and maybe flight risk should have been the word I used for a different Auburn player from last year, but
we talked about him.
But I do think Baker Mazzara, he's been around the block with a million different teams, a million schools. He's won a bunch of different places. He might not he's not going to be a point guard, but I think he can give you a little bit of playmaking, give you a little bit of that kind of wing initiation, top of the key initiation in different spots, kind of allow you to go to different lineups in different scenarios. But Marsh is still going to probably have to be the primary point guard for this team.
Yeah, I actually like the addition of Marsh to this team.
They needed it really bad.
I feel like he surrounds the rest of this roster really well, I should say. Guy that is obviously a tremendous passer, and I think Rice and Baker Mazzara can both benefit playing off of him. And then on defense, he's small, but at the same time, I think with how much he forces turnovers and steals the ball, you can allow him to pressure the ball handler and gamble a little bit with the amount of length that you have behind.
Joe?
Yeah, so I didn't catch everything you guys said, but I honestly do think it's more going to be a committee of Rice and Baker Mazzara is kind of leading the point, quote unquote point guard room, whatever that means in the must style offense. Obviously, Marshall will get his minutes, and there will be times that it is running through him, but I do think it's going to be a lot more of Rice and Baker Mazzara. And like this feels very much just like a must team of all right, we're going to have a ton of wings everywhere. We're not going to have really this true point guard on the floor much, but we're just going to have size and guys are going to get to their spots. And then defensively, we're going to switch basically everything and force havoc that way. I like the versatility that they have in their big room. Like Marion Dickerson is a guy that can potentially guard 1 through 5 or 1 through 4 pretty comfortably. Kofi is the kind of breakout potential candidate. Dines is 7'5", and Brownell I think is more of kind of potential like stretch type guy. I like the versatility. There is definitely some questions like Rice and Baker Mazzara have to hit, especially with Arenas being out till at the earliest January, and that's even if everything goes right. Easter's an interesting guy, is kind of getting some offseason buzz coming, but I don't know. You have them at 9. They feel middle of the pack Big Ten team.
I think they're a tournament team for sure.
Yeah, I would think so. And I think the defense should get them there, even if the offense isn't great or pretty. Like this feels very much like they're going to have some random struggles. They're going to be a 10 seed, and then they're going to make the Sweet 16. Like that's just kind of the feel that I have with this team. Did you guys already ask or talk about how many fights Chad Baker Mazzara and Eric Musselman will get into?
Eric Musselman is the number. I'm like half convinced that Eric Musselman only took Gabe Dines so he could get the photo shoot where he's small and Dines is tall.
Here's one last thing about this team that I want to mention.
This might be
this is the second straight year of Eric Musselman taking an Ivy League transfer that just totally cannot play in this league.
I don't really know what his thought process.
What is the point of him taking Ryan Cornish, and what is the point of Cornish coming here?
Cornish kind of became available really late because of the eligibility stuff, and I think they wanted to add another guard. I don't really get it, but yeah, this is gonna be like some random Tuesday night in January. Some crazy stuff happens at Leeds Sports Center the next day.
Yeah. I get the question. I think the better question, the way I want to phrase it better is how many fights will we see as fans between Baker Mazzara
There's
and
going
Musselman?
to be one.
At least one.
And I don't know who I don't know if they're gonna win the game after that because they usually can.
Yeah.
I mean, Auburn went to Houston after they got in a fight on the plane and they won.
It's team bonding, right?
But yeah, Jonathan, I sent you one of my favorite tweets from this past offseason, which was about this team. It was what Kevin Sweeney said. Muss is attempting to answer the age-old question of what a college basketball team would look like if it only had power forwards.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. All right. Team 10 in the Big Ten. And the third straight of the teams that really shouldn't be in the Big Ten and fourth of the last five, and that's Oregon. Two of the best, like, make 25 or 30 returning players in college basketball, and kind of a lot of slop after that.
I want to hear Joe's thoughts on this team first before I go.
I'm pretty high on this team. I think my rankings, I had them border like top right around 20. I love Biddle. I love Shellstad. I am looking up the exact stats so I can say it for what feels like probably the 100th time this offseason, but I need like 5 seconds to actually get the exact stat that I want. And there it is. Last season with Nate Biddle, Jackson Shellstad, and KJ Evans on the floor, 263 minutes, a net rating of 37.9. When you filter for just in conference play, right, and kind of filtering out some of the cupcake matchups, 155 minutes, a net rating of 40.7. Oregon was elite with those three on the floor. I am still a KJ Evans believer. I think with those three, there can be a good, solid core and kind of base to what this team can be. The pieces surrounding them is definitely a question mark. Like, it definitely is. And I'm a believer in Devin Pryor, and like that's kind of where I think this defense could be. If Pryor works, the defense between Pryor, Evans, and Biddle, like, good luck scoring on that. Like, it's not going to matter who the other two are. Like, Shellstad's whatever, he's fine defensively, and whoever they put in as the last spot, whatever, defensively. You get enough offensively with Shellstad and Biddle, it might not be in who's put up numbers in the CBA or whatever. That's going to be the big question mark, but I think this team's going to be a good team.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Lynn because you probably know more about him than we do. Is it like? Jonathan's gone. I guess Jonathan didn't want to hear the way Lynn talk.
I'm probably lagging again. I lost your audio. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you. I was asking you because you're lagging, Joe. I can see you, but it's blurry.
Sam, am I okay?
Yeah, Jonathan, you're fine.
Okay, I'll talk.
I wanted to talk.
I know Joe was mentioning Kwame Evans. I'm not the biggest fan, but like I guess I can see it with him. I don't love this team's depth unless one of these new international kids pop. But as far as we know, Sam, like they didn't get like any of the super highly rated international kids, right?
No, I mean, I was kind of asking about Lynn because I don't.
Isn't that the kid that they just got?
Yeah, they just got him a couple weeks ago, but he seems like he's good. I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe he clicks mid-season and it works there. This is try 3 of Sean Stewart in high major.
Right.
I'm not.
Lynn was the third leading scorer on the Nanjing Monkey Kings last year. Name the 2 leading scorers.
I'm assuming I know them.
Yes, you know who these guys are. I'm not just giving you random Chinese guys. Lin, I think, was the leading Chinese national scorer.
Can I get a clue?
American Conference for one of them.
How old are these guys?
Couple years ago, American Conference.
David Jones?
2 different teams in the American Conference.
David Jones?
No.
We know it's
Point
not
guard.
Amani Bates.
Point guard.
Point guard?
Yeah. Like a 20-point scorer in college.
20-point scorer in college. Man, I really should know this, shouldn't I?
Yeah, he was a stud. Yeah, he was an All-American in 22-23.
All-American.
Sporting News third team All-American.
Who won the American that year? Because Memphis was bad, weren't they?
In 23? Well,
Yeah.
it is Memphis.
It's not David Jones. Oh, that was last
David
year,
Jones was
wasn't
24. You're thinking of the year Memphis was like lost 6 in a row to like South Florida after leading by 20.
it? Who is it?
Kendrick Davis.
Right.
And the other one, the second leading scorer for the Nanjing Monkey Kings in 2024-25, played about 8 years ago in college for a team that is now in the Big Ten.
Now in the Big Ten.
Yes.
Is this
This guy definitely played in the NBA. This guy was a first round NBA pick. He was a one and done.
one and done?
Yeah, and he played 140 games in the NBA. Like for the Pacers.
Is this like Aaron Holiday?
No. But you have the school.
Okay. I'm trying to think. This is like too late for Shabazz Muhammad, I think. Is it? It's not Shabazz, is it?
No, it's not. Shabazz
Okay.
Muhammad was on the Timberwolves. Think of
Thomas Welsh.
He was on the Thomas Welsh team.
Well, it's not Lonzo.
It's not Lonzo, and it's definitely not LiAngelo.
Well, Bryce Alford wasn't a one and done.
You're so close.
Who else was on that team? This is the Lonzo team, right?
Yeah, it was the Lonzo team.
Who else was on that team?
You're so close.
Tell me.
TJ Leaf.
Yeah. Okay. We were guessing who are the leading scorers on the team that what's his name? Waylon played for last year.
Respect.
Kendrick Davis and TJ Leaf. It's a good way to kind of take time off while we're doing it. Just some other names.
Thoughts, Sam.
Just some other names that played for that team last season. Taco Fall.
Wow.
Who averaged 11.8 points in 13.
You guys see what happened? You guys see what happens when 7'5" guys are just tall? They end up in the Chinese basketball league, not the freaking NBA.
Kay Felder.
Oh, that's a name I haven't thought about in a while.
Stephon Moody.
Wow. Yeah.
From Mississippi.
Okay.
Willie Cauley-Stein.
Can I conclude my thoughts on Oregon?
Yep. Damian Dotson.
Sam, can I conclude my thoughts on Oregon, please?
Yes.
So overall, I think it's really hard to be completely down on a team that has one of the best point guard center duos in the entire country, most likely. But I really don't know about the rest of this roster. If Kwame Evans hits, I think they'll be perfectly fine. I think, like I said, we're on, stop 3 of trying Sean Stewart at a high major. Not sure it's going to work. And then obviously we mentioned the depth questions.
All right. Number 11, new coach, new vibe. That would be Maryland, Buzz Williams' first year. We did a Maryland preview. We've talked about the Terps. I love that they were able to bring a couple of important guys from Texas A&M and Pharrell Payne and Solomon Washington. But I love that they're not just fully going after dudes the same dudes they brought in at A&M with Buzz. Elijah Saunders would not have been a fit at A&M. I think that they kind of needed a little bit of diversity from the rugby players that they were bringing in at Texas A&M. for lack of a better word, like just and I think that helps with Saunders. The backcourt has 4 guys who I think like all have juice in different ways between Miles Rice, Darius Adams, Zay Watts, and Diggy Coet. But I think that is all good as well. I think for what Maryland did this year, they'll be fine. It'll still be the Buzz identity that we saw at A&M because they're still going to be built through Washington and Payne. I think the guard play is going to be a little different from what we saw, but the idea is going to be mostly the same. And I think Saunders is kind of just a really, really good breath of fresh air for that system.
Yeah, this is I'm in similar line there with Maryland of like I think they'll be kind of middle pack, maybe slightly below. Going to be a lot of what they did at A&M, but a little bit of little difference kind of just with how their guards play. And I like the Saunders pickup. He's been getting some buzz as of late. I'm really high on Pharrell Payne. Like I think he's an all Big Ten type dude.
Definitely.
And especially this year, like he should play 25 to 30 minutes. Like I don't see Colin Metcalf playing 20 minutes a game. And so you kind of, if Payne can hold that efficiency, now he's going to play 5 to 10 more minutes a game and probably have a little bit higher usage as well. I really like what he's able to do. Solomon Washington, like, will be one of my favorite players. I have a soft spot for guys who are lanky wing forward defenders that are elite at that and like sort of can't score the ball at all. Honestly, the worse you are offensively, the more I think I like a player in that like just purely to watch. Obviously that makes him a worse player, but like this is going to be a solid team. Like I think they're going to pick off some Big Ten wins just because like teams aren't going to be ready for it, ready for the style. Also is like, does Buzz Williams have just the easiest pitch in the country to guards? Like, hey, be
come
pretty
here
good
and shoot 100 shots.
Shoot. Yeah. Like,
I don't care how bad the shot is. I've seen worse. Shoot.
Literally just get the ball, like hit the rim. And that's honestly good enough for me. Like,
not even the rim, hit the backboard.
Yeah. Just give our rebounders a somewhat of a chance. And that's fine with me.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I think this is probably more of a figure it out year for Maryland. I still think that like with Buzz, you probably give yourself a nice floor, a decent floor. But you know that first year at A&M, they did take some time to figure it out. I think that people did forget about the fact that like Buzz did not do this like offensive rebound, like draw a bunch of fouls thing at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
They did not play that way at all. And they had good teams at Virginia Tech too. They have, I think, a pretty good core with Rice as a 2-year player, Darius Adams for multiple years, Isaiah Watts for multiple years. Front court, I think, should still do a lot of the same things that they did at A&M, obviously, because they brought over a couple of those players still. But I think there will be some games where this is really ugly, but this could be a transition year. Like I think like the way that Buzz views his coaching career, like he probably doesn't plan on being here for more than 4 and 5 years. So you use year 1 as like kind of a build the foundation year, and then year 2 is where you take off.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep.
12. Michigan State.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not using my rankings for because of this.
This team's gonna find a way to make a tournament. They will hear their name called on Selection Sunday. Now they might expand the tournament to 76 before we get there, but they will hear their name called on Selection Sunday.
Yeah,
It just doesn't make sense how they're gonna do it. I just think this team to me is relying a lot on Trey Fort, who we've already seen in a high major, and it hasn't gone particularly well. He's probably going to be a little better than he was there. Probably going to be a lot better than he was there. But like, Jeremy Fears isn't a scorer. Cohen Carr isn't a scorer. Like, I think Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper are fine. Like, they're not anything special.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to turn into superstars this year because there's no explanation for why they should. And Izzo ends up doing that type of stuff. But like, I don't think there's an all Big Ten player on this roster.
You talk to some people, and Cohen Carr is a first team All Big Ten player. I haven't gotten there
What?
on Carr.
Who is saying that?
Dude, some of it is Michigan State bias.
Did he add a second left hand that we don't know about?
I'm not saying I'm
Hey,
there.
hey. Michigan State fans also think Cohen Carr is the best dunker in the country. So,
hey, he might be now.
Mr. Dean is still playing in college basketball.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
So where I'm at with Michigan State is like they're in this middle of the pack tier that's just like 8 teams. It's very marginal. I have them kind of ahead of that middle pack, mainly because their head coach is Tom Izzo. I've been stuck in this cycle all offseason of I look at the roster, I'm like, yeah, this isn't like that good of a roster. Then I think to like, okay, well, I didn't think the roster was like that good last year. I think their roster last year was better than this year, but like
way better.
Right. And they still won the Big Ten by 3 games. Then I remember Tom Izzo as their coach. I was like, okay, they'll be solid. And then I look at their roster again and I'm like, this isn't that like great of a roster. It's right. If this team is going to be built on depth, like if that's the formula again, their only guy off the bench who has played college basketball in quotes is Divine Ugochukwu. If you count if you count playing at Miami last year as playing college basketball, there's a lot of question marks. But at the same time, like I think Fears, Carr, Kohler, and Cooper, they are all solid. Like I don't think any of them are bad players in any capacity. Like Cooper can kind of anchor the defense. Kohler can kind of be the scoring 4. Carr, we know what he is, and I do like Fears as a lead facilitator. They need at least one of Ford or Tay to pop.
Concerned about the spacing for this team.
Yeah, like
Trey Ford is the only shooter in this 5.
Yeah, and well, Kurt Tang, hopefully, but
yeah, like I know Kohler shot like a decent percentage last year, but he's got to shoot like triple the amount of threes.
I don't think anybody's gonna respect him out there.
That's gonna be a legitimate spacing thing.
It's the same. They have to run back. They have to try to run back the same formula last year.
Yeah, and
it's going to be ugly. Dominate the glass, dominate the paints. But I just don't like. I also think that their defense is going to take a bigger hit than people think because, like, I think what made their defense so good is just how good their guards were defensively. Like Holloman and Akins. Obviously, we know Jace Richardson's a big loss, but like I think Holloman and Akins is a much bigger loss than probably some people have.
I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't fight to keep Holloman more than they like.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would feel so much better about this team if they still had Holloman.
Yeah, 100%.
The hope for this team is the upside pitch for this team. Kurt Tang becomes Jace Richardson.
Yeah, Tyson Walker. Maybe not Tyson Walker
unlikely.
Level, yeah, that type of player.
Jace Richardson was the best player on this team last year.
Yeah.
I don't see it with Michigan State. It'll happen in some way, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
And I can't explain to you how I could see it happening. Jonathan.
Maybe one of the freshmen pop again. That's kind of what happened for them last year. I need to watch more of Ward, but I get the sense that he's going to be a pretty impactful player for them right away. It's just hard to manipulate what they got out of Jace last year. I mean, he was stud. And Jeremy Fears is a very good point guard. I don't think he's one of the great Michigan State Tom Izzo point guards. I don't think he's quite the level of offense that Tyson Walker gave you. Obviously, the defense is what you write home about with him. You know, if Cohen Carr takes the leap, I'll respect it, but I kind of believe it when I see it, kind of thing. Yeah. And then again, Jackson Kohler, fine player, solid player. I don't think he's going to be 16 a game for you. So,
yeah.
I agree with you guys. They'll find a way to get in. They'll be an 8 seed, we'll all pick them to win in the first round. And despite the fact that, you know, it's a horrible matchup for them and it makes no sense for them to win the game and blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, yeah, Divine.
I can't, like, I don't have an
Divine
argument.
Ugochukwu was just I think a misread, honestly.
I don't know what, like, Divine Ugochukwu thought he was doing on the floor last year. Don't think it was basketball.
He's athletic. He's got that going for him.
Like,
Would be great
I don't know
to
how,
use that
but
on
somehow
one.
he's going to be like the superstar this Michigan State team needs.
Yeah, he's gonna be the one that just pops.
Nothing has ever made sense with Michigan State basketball.
True. Tom Izzo.
Number 13, Northwestern. Like another team, like I like. I do see the vision with Northwestern. Nick Martinelli coming back, obviously one of the best players in the Big Ten. He's going to score a ton. He's got the kind of the mid-post game. Really fun player to watch go to work. Like I wouldn't even say like what he does is like playing. It's going to work. Like the way Nick Martinelli plays basketball, it's a very workman-like game, and it's fun for that reason. Max Green is a hooper, just like straight hooper. Like very wiry and thin for a 6'5" guard, but played the point for Holy Cross when Tyler Boston got hurt. Bet you didn't think I would mention Tyler Boston on the Big Ten preview. But Max Green stepped in as the point guard. Like you can bump him, but he's going to go right back after you. Gamer type of guy. It's like a high school basketball star in Kentucky. That's like the type of thing you're going to get. Just like these dudes that are just gamers. They're going to come out and want to score. And then I love Jaden Reed. He's tremendous passing point guard who showed a lot last year. I think they got like high major big man in Arrington Page. Not a lot of teams were like able to get like a big man that I think kind of fits their ambitions. In the portal, I think Arrington Page at Northwestern is kind of like, all right, you did fine.
Joe, was it you that tweeted last season that like next year would be the Justin Mullins breakout, or am I like misremembering that?
I probably was high on Justin Mullins. That sounds like something I would have tweeted.
Okay.
It didn't happen, but
no, I think that this could be Chris Collins' worst defense since 2022, unfortunately. However, I do think that this offense has a chance to be quite good if the pieces click. Really like KJ Wyndham. Jaden Reed was a spectacular addition. Sam mentioned him and his playmaking ability. Tyler Kropp has been getting a lot of buzz over the last couple months, I feel like, and had a fantastic showing in, I forget which tournament over the summer. But
FIBA U19.
Yeah, he was
Argentina.
Yeah, he was good in that one. Max Green, like the addition. I think that this team's defense really kind of rests on what you think of Arrington Page, because I don't think that they're going to defend super well on the perimeter. As good as Nick Martinelli is as a scorer, I don't think he's a good defender. He may lead the Big Ten in scoring, him and TKR, but
yeah,
I don't think he's an elite defender at this level. I don't think he's a great defender at this level. That's probably why he was a mid-year recruit before he committed to Northwestern and decommitted from Elon, because his offense was just spectacular in high school at all points. Yeah, I think if this team's going to be a tournament team, they're probably going to have to play some really good offense. I'm a little higher probably than like media polls have Northwestern, just because I think that they'll be well coached and they'll be tough to scout offensively.
Yeah, I'm kind of in this range too. Like Ken Palm has him 57. That feels somewhat right. Like kind of in that ballpark where, and then they could, if things hit, that's when they can kind of go better. I like Chris Collins as a coach. I think he is a good coach. It feels they're another team that's just, there's so many question marks. They kind of need them all to go the right way. Like I like Jaden Reed. I think he'll be good. I expect a year or two jump from Wyndham. I was very high on him going into his freshman season. You started to see it a lot more towards the end of the year. One of Trey Singleton or Tyler Kropp is, I assume, going to pop, if not both, for this Northwestern team, kind of in that forward spot. I think Page is fine. Like, I think he will be fine. He is a solid defender. I am concerned that having a solid defender as the base of their defense is like, I'm concerned where the defense then goes with that. A little bit more skill, kind of like you guys said with Max Green. And then, Martinelli's just going to put the ball in the hoop in the weirdest way possible. And I'm going to enjoy every single moment of it.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope Nick Martinelli like just continues to average like 18 points a game in like some random European league, and just like obviously it'd be great like if he could somehow like get in the NBA. I don't think he has the same luck. I don't think he'll be. I don't think he's as much of a prospect as Barnhizer was. But like I just want him to keep going to work and like scoring 18 a game in like some European league where it's just like he's able to just kind of do the type of thing where he gets to the elbow, he does like the three shimmies, and he puts up the push shot. There are three guys in college basketball last year who were who had elite push shots. Jonathan, you know exactly the three names I'm going to
TKR, Nick
Trey
Martinelli,
J. Adams, and Nick Martinelli.
Yeah.
The three best push shots in college basketball. Martinelli is the only one that would kind of like Martinelli is the only one that I felt like went to work in the way that he did. Like TKR, it was kind of like he'd catch it and he'd then put it up. Martinelli was like, he would come at it from triple threat. Martinelli's triple threat bag is really cool. Like, he might have like the most unique triple threat bag in the country.
So, Sam, it's funny because you're writing a story right now on his high school teammate at Cornell. But Nick's older. Well, Nick has two older brothers, but the one my age, the one my age, Dominic, he played at St. Thomas for Johnny Tower and played a little at U Chicago as well. Dom wasn't the height that Nick was, and wasn't like as good of an athlete, believe it or not, that Nick was. So that's like why he was, a lower level player versus where Nick is right now. But Dom had like the same exact like game as Nick, and it was so like weird but like oddly fun to watch. Like I remember in like the conference like crossover championship here, Dom hit like a running like floater from the 3-point line. And that's like the kind of thing that like Nick would do too. They just like score in the weirdest ways, but like they get it done.
They go to work. Work. Mm-hmm. If there's one thing about the Martinellis, they're gonna go to work.
They're like, I feel like it's always just like an old saying of like, oh, that guy's going to be 40 and getting buckets at the Y. Like Nick Martinelli, he is actually going to pull up when he is 45 and just ruin a kid's day at the Y
somewhere in Europe when he's 40.
Yeah. He'll
be getting buckets and giving buckets away when he's 42 years old in the Italian second tier.
Nick is going to like show a lot of people when he's older, like playing pickup, like how much of an actual gap there is between like a guy who played high level Division I college basketball and like just like your regular rec player.
Yeah.
This is a tremendous conversation. I just love this conversation about the funny things Nick Martinelli does on a basketball court.
He like makes Northwestern like fun to watch, like on his own.
Yeah,
and I love Barnhizer too. Like Barnhizer was also pretty unique. As we mentioned, he had the Yaxel Lendeberg, Cooper Flagg, Barnhizer, Earl Timberlake stat. But like Nick Martinelli is unique in a different way. I'm really excited to watch him play this year. One of the things I missed most about college basketball.
Number 14.
Diebler.
So I think this is probably going to be one of our more intriguing discussions because like the gap between like what analytical polls think of this team and what like actual humans who have watched Jake Diebler coach basketball think of this team is like probably the biggest in the conference. I can totally
Probably
see
the biggest in the country.
I can totally see the argument for this team being good, and I totally could see this team being good because of their talent level. But man, like the gap between like the head coaches in like a lot of these matchups that Ohio State will play in conference play, it scares me.
Clearly the worst coach in the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like everyone else a gap and Jake Diebler.
What's the line, Sam? He got the job because of 3-point variance.
Yeah, he got the job because 3-point variance.
You probably figured that a lot of athletic directors aren't in tune with 3-point shooting variance these days.
Yeah, especially not when your football team is making the playoff every
and
year.
Winning national titles. Yeah.
Well, they weren't winning national titles until last year.
Yet. Yeah.
Maybe that's the Jake Diebler effect. That's
Yeah.
the real
I don't know.
Jake Diebler effect.
There's a lot of things about Jake Diebler that are completely inexplicable.
This is kind of where I have Ohio State too. I'm pretty low on them, mainly because and it's been somewhat of a theme for some of these Big Ten teams. Like, I really don't know how they're going to guard. Like, I think Bruce Thornton's probably their best defender, and I think he's a fine defender. But if he is your best defender, I think you are in trouble. I think this defense could be one of the worst, if like a bottom 2-3 defense in the Big Ten. The offense is going to be really good. Like, it's going to be fun. I shouldn't say is for sure going to be really good. I do have concerns with Royal at the 3. I think it'll be fine, especially with just kind of, they'll have spacing with like Tilly and
so good.
Yeah, and the backcourt's good. Like, but I don't know. I don't trust the depth on this team at all, especially the guard depth. And I understand Thornton and Mobley are going to play as many minutes as possible. I don't really like the big depth. Really, the only depth I like is Amari Bynum and maybe Colin Whites, and hopefully Taysom Chapman if he's able to stay healthy in that. I'm still kind of a believer, but there's just a lot of holes. You have Bruce Thornton, you have Devin Royal, you have John Mobley. So like there is a floor to this team, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. But do you guys can you name me a better defender on this roster than Bruce Thornton?
Maybe Amari Bynum, but
yeah, okay, I could buy that.
I mean, he might have a 93 offensive rating, but he might be the best defender on this team.
Yeah,
I think. This backcourt will score a lot. And
I would you would hope for getting a 7-footer, they didn't get a 7-footer that's a terrific defender.
Yeah, he's solid, but he's not an anchor.
This team,
he's that was not a they were 5th in the WCC in 2-point defense, 10th in block rate, for what that team was. He was okay, but
I think Ohio State will probably be a tough out just because of their talent level on most nights, unless they just completely quit on Diebler by February, or because the season's been going bad. Gabe Cupps, I'm convinced, is still at a high major because of a video that went viral in 7th grade of him shooting against LeBron. Yeah, there's I think a lot more questions than answers right now with this team, and if they're gonna be an NCAA tournament team, it's probably because they're gonna be a top 10 offense.
Yeah, that feels like the pathways. Was it Baylor 2 or 3 years ago? That was 6th offense and 85 defense or something of that sort. That feels like it has to be kind of their pathway. Mm-hmm. I just don't love that. That means it's Diebler that has to put this team together. And if I'm not so out on him that if he's good this year, I will be open to having my mind changed. But just not. I don't know. Is Bruce Thornton really not going to make any NCAA tournaments in his career?
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Can he still transfer?
Well, I mean, if he could probably just sue, I don't know, and he just his argument will be I missed out on money because I couldn't make the NCAA tournaments, and NCAA will be all right, here's another year.
the Diebler ruling.
Yeah, I had Holtman and Diebler as my coaches, so give me one more.
If if Jake Diebler is like the name of like a famous NCAA ruling, like Sam and I may have to cancel the pod.
15 for me. And honestly, I feel like I should have them above Ohio State. Minnesota.
So I feel like they're a little bit of the opposite with Ohio State, where like we know schematically they'll be good, but talent level might not be there quite yet.
I think there's good swings on this roster. Like Jalen Crocker-Johnson is an awesome defender. Will immediately be like one of the best defenders in this conference. Like Bobby Durkin, Cade Tyson, like two guys with size that can shoot. Like great swings in my eyes. Tyson as a buy low. Durkin, I think, can be better. BJ Omon, another kind of buy low. Langston Reynolds scored a lot at Northern Colorado. I think Chancey Willis can be okay. Like I think there's a lot of paths for this team to be pretty solid. I don't know if the talent level is good enough to get to the tournament in year one with how stacked the Big Ten is with tournament teams. But like they are going to be good, like competitive.
Yeah, they're above definitely the last two teams that we're going to talk about. Where I don't know, Minnesota getting 7 Big Ten wins feels pretty reasonable, and like they're not going to be a team that really anybody wants to play. They'll probably drop a couple games that they shouldn't, and they'll probably win a few games that they're going to be pretty, somewhat heavy underdogs in. Like the hire, I feel like this year you just kind of want to see some of it kind of go together. You're going to be able to return a lot from this roster, assuming you can maintain. You'll have the capability of it, right? With Asama, Turner, they can both come back. I think Durkin has another year. Willis probably won't have another year, if I'm understanding correctly. But like even like Kai Shinholster, incoming freshman, like I'm pretty high on him. I think he's an underranked incoming freshman. Another team, like I don't know what the defense is going to be. I really like Nehemiah Turner a lot. I think he's going to be fun, like very fun. And him with Asama is a fun duo. Yeah, it feels like this is a year. It's just like, all right, Medved's going to come in, probably outperform predictions slightly, figure out kind of how he needs to go about it, and then year 2 is when you start seeing Medved really get Minnesota going.
I also think there's got to be proof of concept in terms of money for this program.
Yeah.
I like Asuma, like pretty high on a breakout from him, and I also I'm like really buying back in on Cade Tyson here. Like every guy that transferred out of UNC is like I kind of like them for this year, except for like Ian Jackson, but like Cadeau I'm in on. Van Allen Lubin I'm in on. Cade Tyson I'm in on. Yeah, I think that
I mean, you know who else like was at Carolina for a year, never shot the ball well, but like was always a shooter as a 6'7", and then left Carolina and shot 40% 2 years in a row. Like obviously completely different scenario, but Tyler Nickel. Like if Cade Tyson is Minnesota's Tyler Nickel. Like, is that something that's out of the question?
I don't think so. I don't think it's entirely out of the question.
Like, obviously, Nickel was a freshman at UNC, so it's totally different.
But we've seen Tyson play in a really good offense, at least like in a really good schematic offense, where the team's actually running stuff for him to get good shots, versus like what the hell they were doing at UNC last year with him. I feel like this Minnesota offense that Medved's gonna run is probably a lot more similar to the Belmont offense he was in, and I think it'll be good for him.
Yeah, I think I would agree there. Another guy that transferred into UNC, didn't fit for a year, and then transferred to Minnesota was Dawson Garcia. So like that's who Cade Tyson's just going to become, right? That's how this works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Totally the same player.
Yeah, definitely 1 for 1.
Dawson Garcia was at UNC.
For like
Dawson Garcia like left the team midseason, and then like they started playing well.
That was the UNC team that made the championship.
Yeah.
God, that team was not good enough to make the championship game.
I don't remember having like a definitive take on him leaving the team, but I'm sure there was somebody out there that like when he left said like, oh, like this is a lost season for UNC. And holy cow.
Hold on, when did he leave? He left that team.
January 22nd was his last game.
They immediately won 4 in a
Dude,
row.
they were like
and
a
only
top 10
lost
team in the
4.
country from then on.
Yeah.
Here, hold on. We've got to figure this out. What were they in Torvik?
17-4 after he left.
What were they in Torvik from January 23rd on?
Did Minnesota win 17 games with Dawson Garcia?
In his career?
No, in a season.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
They had like one decent year where they probably won 17.
They had 15 last year.
19 in 2024. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me quickly pull this up. UNC with Dawson Garcia on the roster was 43rd in Torvik. They were 12-6 and 4-3 in the ACC. After Dawson Garcia left the team, they were 11th in Torvik, 17-4 and 11-2 in the ACC.
Yeah, they were good once they got them out of there.
Yeah, pretty crazy. They also got to play against a 15th seed in the Elite Eight.
Shout out Purdue.
Wow, yeah. You're just gonna like disrespect the MAC like that?
No, I'm going to talk about the MAC in any chance I get. Shout out St. Peter's. Shout out Shaheen Holloway. Shout out Casey and Defo. 16 Nebraska.
So I was like way off. Like I had last year.
Is it Nebraska that I'm most excited for this college basketball season is Bruce Springsteen new Electric Nebraska release album. Definitely more excited for that than Nebraska basketball.
What about the Tony Patelis Nebraska tweets? Are you excited for those? Okay, so last year I had
corporate is advising me not to say anything. Legal is advising me not to say anything.
Last year, if you guys remember correctly, I had this team outside my top 100 in the preseason, and they finished 46th in KenPom. So my bad, but they also missed the Big Ten tournament. So that kind of validated my feelings. We're playing narrative ball here. We're not here to get stuff right. Just so you guys know.
I respect it.
I don't mind this Nebraska team. I can see the case for them.
Hey, they won the crown.
They did win the crown.
Only 16 team crown winner potentially ever. Because I think they're going to 8 now.
Probably ever. I don't.
That's probably
know how
the right
long the crown's
decision.
gonna last.
Yeah.
Really excited for Rink Mast coming back. He was quite the player, Bradley. I thought he was really good in his lone year at Nebraska. They get him back. The rest of this roster, I think there's like some upside here. Asijan played really well at the end of the season for them last year, so I'm excited about his role for them this year. Other than that, like I'll defer to Joe here because he's obviously our expert on like how this team's gonna be and like what the upside is.
I like Nebraska. They're a team I'm just going to be higher on than consensus. And I'm just cool with that. I think getting Mouse back is so big. Like he is what opens up their entire offense. They love running those handoffs and just having their 5M be the initiator. He is the guy that is going to be able to do that and is going to do that. Right. I think the rest of the talent isn't crazy good, but I think there's enough pieces. Like I like Kendall Blue. Braden Frager, we talk about Keaton Wagler winning the offseason award. Like Braden Frager is up there. He's been getting all of the hype as just like athletic kind of wing that, has just good upside. He redshirted last season. I love their 2 freshmen in Rhymes and Leo Curtis. Like I think both of them are very.
I'm glad to hear somebody else is high on Curtis because I really liked him. Yeah,
no, Curtis is like he is a perfect fit. I think between like he's he'll only play 10 to 15 probably most a game just with Moss, but really like the skill level there. You get shooters in Asijan and Sanford. You get defense in Lawrence and Hoiberg. Sneakily snap Hoiberg. Like if he comes out really good defensively, I will be campaigning for him to make an all defense team. I think he was like borderline that good last year. No, he doesn't give you a ton offensively, knock down some shots, but I don't know. I just think I think Hoiberg's figured out the system that he wants to run both defensively and offensively. He went out, Mass is going to be the lead of it. You have the shooters. Blue and Rhymes and Frager can maybe be that point wing that we've seen. They're not going to be nearly as good as Bryce Williams, but kind of that mold. You have more depth in the big room between Yaroslaviches, Bayuktangel, Mass, Curtis, Garcia. I don't know. I just like, I'm not saying that this is going to be a, seventh best team in the Big Ten or anything, but I feel like they're a frisky bubble team is kind of where I have them.
They could roll out some pretty big lineups.
Also, Jonathan, I just want to say, I still was right last year. Remember when I said Bryce Williams could lead the Big Ten in scoring?
Yeah.
He led the Big Ten in scoring.
I overlooked him. That was a mistake.
He led the Big Ten in scoring during conference games with 20.7. So.
Also, I do want to add, I think that Fred Hoiberg is generally a plus on game days, like a good X's and O's in-game coach. I think at this point, it's just like he's at a resource disadvantage, and he's at a school where football is the first sport, which not all Big Ten schools are that way.
And volleyball is massive there.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Do we have to?
Oh boy, I'm so excited to talk about these last two.
I'm curious to see who you have 17.
I don't even know. You could give it a toss up, but I'm going.
Can 17. I die on the hill that I think
17?
17.
I don't really care who's going to be 17, who's going to be 18. I'm going Rutgers at 17.
So we Sam, we saw we got a picture a couple days ago, or not? Maybe I forget when we got this picture.
Well, that was Penn State. We'll talk about that with Penn State.
No. I know, but it was Penn State, and it was Eli Rice was on their promotional graphic for the basketball season.
It was Eli Rice.
At that point, I think you have to cancel the season, right?
Yeah,
Look,
I mean,
at least for Rutgers, I think Darren Buchanan is clearly better than anyone on the Penn State roster.
Maybe Mingo, but I do like Buchanan.
Depends what you think of. I don't know how to J Mike is experienced at this point.
He has played college basketball.
Doesn't really play like he's experienced. Hopefully he does.
It's just
maybe Zerno is good.
If Zerno's good and Buchanan hits, you at least have two guys that I think are capable of putting the ball in the hoop. I don't know who outside of that is capable of putting the ball in the hoop, and it's generally a pretty important aspect of basketball, in my opinion. And also, I know some people are this is gonna
putting the ball in the hoop.
Pikel's gonna be able to get back to what he wants to do and just play hard defense and all that. But you kind of look at those teams that people are referencing for Pikel, where it's number 5 defense, number 6 defense. They had a 53, 16-6. You know who was on those teams? It's Cliff Amori and Caleb McConnell.
Yeah, they had a real rim protector.
Yeah, it wasn't. And Caleb McConnell won 2, I think, Defensive Player of the Years in the Big Ten. It wasn't like he was just running out bad defensive players and Pikel was this genius that got him to be really good. It's oh no, they just legitimately had really good defenders, and I don't know if they have that on this roster. I mean, Grant and Dortch have good athleticism. Davis plays hard. I don't really like Ogbole or Fall. I don't know. Unless Zerno and Badalu and Buchanan
also
hit,
Chris Newuli and transferred mid-year in high school,
or something,
so I'm automatically
one
out.
of these up transfers. I just don't know the case for them.
Yeah, not really. I don't think Francis is a Big Ten player.
So
was very inefficient. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I lost audio again.
Okay. I was wondering because I felt like I was talking over you a bunch.
Sam, can you hear me?
I don't know what's.
Yeah, I can hear you, Jonathan. Okay. Joe, I can hear, but I don't think Joe can hear me.
I think I saw you say, "Can I hear you?" No, I can't. But
okay.
I don't know. I'll just leave and come back really quick again.
Yeah. I couldn't hear. Like Joe
Okay,
could hear
so
me.
real quick,
I couldn't hear. Joe couldn't hear me. I could hear him.
okay, so I don't have any like serious thoughts on these teams because they're both going to be terrible.
Okay.
Like I don't really see how this like.
What I said about Chris Nwuli was that Chris Nwuli transferred in the middle of the high school season, which means I'm out.
He's played at 5 high
Yeah.
schools in his high school career.
That's usually a red flag.
I also saw him in
Usually
person last year and like was not impressed.
So, like, I don't think there's a real path to this Rutgers team being good defensively because, like Joe said, like they actually had good defensive players on the teams that were really good defensively, and running back Emmanuel Ogbol as your starting center is probably not the answer to your problems.
With Byfall as your backup.
Yeah, unless Byfall
didn't work in Kansas State.
Unless Byfall turns back into this like 4-star recruit that he never should have been.
Which I never thought he was.
Like, I don't really see it. Penn State, I at least can like talk myself into being like semi like fun to watch because Caden Mingo could have some awesome nights. Now, he also will have some nights where he has the funniest box score line in college basketball history. And the other thing about Penn State is I don't know this off the top of my head, but I would imagine that if Mingo is actually good for them, they will be in contention to be the worst high major team ever to produce a first-round pick. I'd have to do some research on that, but
I mean, yeah, you'd have to. I guess like, yeah, you said high major. Yeah, he probably could be. I think he's gonna make everybody ask the question of like, how much do we care about team success for freshman of the year? Like, if he's averaging 17 a game and they win 2 Big Ten games, like, does he just get it in a little bit of a weaker freshman class?
Like, I think if they're that bad, like he has to, like it can't just be 17 with like a 96 offensive rating.
Yeah,
like it has to be a good offensive rating.
Yeah, I mean it's like the way I describe this roster is like it feels like Mike Rhodes was just guaranteed another year. Like he was guaranteed 2 years. Like, okay, I'm going to put this super young roster together and let it develop. And now, obviously, there's some other big Penn State news.
He was given the ability to push his NIL supply from this year to that next year.
Yeah, I mean they only have, unless something is updated and I haven't caught it, which is possible, they only have 13 players on the roster. One of them's a walk-on.
Are we in on any of these international guys? Like there's like what?
Tunka has some upside offensively.
Yeah, Tunka's okay.
Like he's fine. Juric can maybe develop eventually into a guy. Murtic is going to have to play, and I don't know if that's good or not for them. Probably not good for them. Like they have 3 guys on the, they have 5 guys on the roster that have played any sort of college basketball in their life. One of them is Eli Rice, who played back end at Nebraska 2 years ago and redshirted last year. And the other one's Dominic Stewart. There's one that's Dominic Stewart, who played back end for Penn State last year. Unless Mingo and Tunka are just lights out, I just don't see the path. Like, I don't like the depth. Eli Rice is the one guy I'm going to be kind of like, oh, I think he could maybe sort of breakouts.
Yeah. I think Eli Rice probably has the second highest ceiling on this team.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Which is kind of enough said.
Yeah. Over under, so this is for combined Rutgers and Penn State, over under 5.5 Big Ten wins combined.
How many times do they play each other?
Twice.
So 3.5.
So I guess it'd be 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 for the other.
Like I still feel like I gotta go under
3. So it'd be essentially they would go a combined. If
how many times do they each play Nebraska? Because I also think Nebraska is like clearly below the rest of the league, but not.
I mean, I'm not with you there, but they play Nebraska once each.
Okay. One of them is going to beat Ohio State.
Penn State has Ohio State. Penn State has Ohio State twice.
Penn State's going to beat Ohio State at home. I don't know when that game. When's that game?
Rutgers and Penn State play on the last day of the year, if you care about that.
Oh
Penn
my God.
State-
I am so
Oh,
glad. I am
Penn
so
State's-
glad that they moved the MAC tournament back so I don't have to subject myself to going to that game.
I mean, you could just
You've gone to worse.
Rutgers, Penn State, last day of the season, both teams eliminated from the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, there's this very specific game that I know about that you went to that is way worse.
Penn State, their last
Wait,
two games of
Isn't the Big Ten tournament all 18 teams this year?
Yeah, it is again.
Never mind.
So we will see Penn State and Rutgers in there.
Have a chance to make the NCAA tournament.
Wait, what was that?
They have a chance to make the NCAA tournament.
True. I mean, just win
They-
6 games in
They
a row. It'll be.
technically have a chance.
Yeah. I mean, by the rules that the Big Ten has laid out, they will have a chance. Final two, don't let Penn State get hot late, though. If you think that they'll beat Ohio State at home, their final 2 games, home against Ohio State, at Rutgers. Don't let them get hot to close out the year.
They could win two. They could win both of those. Absolutely.
Would those be their only 2 wins of the season?
game yesterday.
Or the Big Ten
We
season?
win today.
You say both at home?
In a row. We win
It's-
tomorrow. That's called a winning streak.
Actually,
It has happened before. So let's see some hustle.
Wait, so you said both of those are at home, Joe?
no, it's at Rutgers. But here's their
Oh.
Penn State's final 5 games: home against Rutgers, at Nebraska, home against Iowa, home against Ohio State, and at Rutgers. I mean,
Is 4-1 in the cards?
0-15 to start, 4-1. Don't let them get hot. Nobody wants to see them in
Yeah.
the Big Ten tournaments.
You don't want to see them on that Tuesday.
No, you do not. None of us will want to see them on that Tuesday, to be fair.
Well, thankfully, it'll be on the back channels of Peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be watching.
Watch the MAC championship game instead.
I should.
Anyway, player of the year,
Braden Smith.
Braden Smith.
defensive player of the year.
Ade Mara.
Ooh.
I haven't thought about this.
It's my final 3 is Lendeborg, Biddle, and Mara.
Can I
I'm gonna go Biddle.
say Jacob?
No,
Kofi?
I'm gonna go Lendeborg. Final answer, locked in.
Can I say Jacob Kofi?
Yeah.
I
I don't think it's crazy.
Freshman of the year.
Nobody here can legally stop you.
Freshman,
Sam, what did you
I
say?
guess.
Yeah, freshman of the
Oh,
year.
freshman of the year.
What are we? Are you counting all the international guys? What's your line on that?
You have to have freshman eligibility.
United States freshman of the year.
Yeah.
No, Mirkovic counts.
Well,
Okay.
because I think the answer is Steinbach then, right?
Oh yeah, it is Steinbach.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, it's
Cade Mingo.
It'll be
Yeah.
Mingo, Mirkovic, Trey Thompson, Darius Adams.
if Elijah Arenas was healthy, he was just the answer, but
McKinney.
he is not.
Maybe Darius Adams is really good for Maryland.
Yeah.
But yeah. Steinbach's probably the answer.
Steinbach feels like the answer.
Yeah,
Markovic,
definitely
man,
Steinbach.
right? Freshman eligibility somehow is what he'll get.
Definitely Steinbach. All right, Jonathan.
Of the United States kids, I think McKenny's probably
Could
the best
Wagler?
one.
Oh, McKenney. Yeah. No,
Could it be
McKenney.
I just don't know how much if he'll have the numbers for it.
I could.
All right.
If Wagler
You
is.
could also bank. You could also bank on Cam Ward being good for Michigan State because they're gonna need him to play.
Yeah, true.
All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
Yeah, what a show, man!
What a show!
2 hours and 19 minutes. All right,
That was one of the best we've done.
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Penn State entering the Big Ten tournament at 4-1, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about
Don't let him get hot.
And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been Season 6, Episode 41 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Mid-Steelers, our Big Ten preview with Joe Jackson. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.